Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. Our big focus this hour, the report of the Joint Committee on the WAQF Amendment Bill is scheduled to be presented in the Lok Sabha tomorrow. According to the list of business, Jagdambika Parl, chairman of the Joint Parliamentary Committee, will be presenting the report along with BJP MP Sanjay, Jaiswal. They will also place on record the evidence given before the committee. The bill proposes over 40 changes to the WAQF Act 1995, including representation for Muslim women and non-Muslims. It also aims to reduce the WAQF board's power to claim properties as WAQF without verification and introduce district collectors to resolve WAQF-related disputes as well as verify ownership. The bill also proposes a separate board of WAQF for Bohras and Aga Khanis with broader community representation. Apart from this, it also aims to streamline WAQF registration through a central database with notices and seeks to enhance transparency and ensure mandatory inclusion of women in the WAQF board. Before we delve into a discussion with our guests, let's quickly understand the concept of a WAQF, the role and organization of the WAQF board, and also quickly take a look at the registered WAQF properties list, in fact, in India. Let's quickly examine that before we, of course, open it up for our discussion. So just talking now about firstly, what exactly is a WAQF? So it refers to the endowment of property, assets or funds given for religious, charitable or community purposes. That is the proper definition of WAQF. What is a WAQF board? Well, a WAQF board is a body or organization that oversees and manages WAQF properties. Also, of course, the objectives of the WAQF board are to manage the WAQF properties. It ensures that the WAQF properties are maintained and their income is used for the intended purposes as well. Also, registration. Registering WAQF properties and ensuring that they are legally recognized also falls in the ambit of the WAQF board. Meanwhile, dispute resolution as well, handling conflicts or disputes regarding the management of WAQF properties, that also is handled by the WAQF board. Also monitoring and regulating how the WAQF assets are being used to ensure transparency and proper distribution as well. In fact, the operation now is by the Central WAQF Council in India. They oversee the national framework of the WAQF board, the rules, the regulations and whatnot. Each state has its own WAQF board to manage local WAQF properties that fall in their state's ambit or domain. And now quickly taking you through the registered WAQF properties in India. It's in fact double that figure. There were 300,000 such properties in 2009. In 2024, it stands at 8,72,292. That's more than double the figure of 3 lakhs that it was in 2009. Registered WAQF properties, if we tell you about, well, 8,72,292 covers a total land area of 9.4 lakh hectares, in fact. So pretty large in size as well. There are about 3,56,031 WAQF estates in India. Immovable properties, if we tell you about, 8,72,292, and movable properties 16,173. So this is of course some more details about exactly what the WAQF is, what the WAQF board is, and how many WAQF properties of course there are in India. But now coming back of course to this much proposed and talked about JPC report that of course will be tabled, and then the bill also has been listed for passage in this very session itself. Harishankar Jain, Advocate Supreme Court, quickly roping you in here first, Harishankar Jain, because what we're seeing of course is multiple meetings have taken place. Sources tell us that the report is going to be tabled tomorrow. What do you expect in Parliament, and how do you react to how the committee deliberations so far have gone?
I'm very happy that the JPC report is being tabled tomorrow in Parliament, and I'm happy that in 2018, for the first time, I filed a petition questioning the various provisions of the WAQF Act being unconstitutional, violative and discriminatory, and against Hindus and against the government itself. The JPC, which has been formed, taken note of all the facts, and they have considered the objections raised by various parties. WAQF Act is required to be amended thoroughly, and I think that more amendments are required. There is something lacking still. In fact, in the name of a number of properties which is even does not belong to a Muslim, not to Bangladesh Muslims, they have been overpowered, they have been taken. Number one. Number two, you will find a number of Hindu structures. They have been captured in the name of Waqf. A number of public properties have been captured by in the name of Waqf. As you were telling just now, what are the villages of Waqf? First thing is, the Waqf should be created by some person. It should be known as WAQF. WAQF means a person who is the owner of the property. A person who is not the owner of the property cannot dispose his property. The first thing is, there should be proof that he has disposed his property of which he is owner. Number two, there must be some title deed that he has the title and he is transferring it to Almighty. Third one is, there must be trust deed or drug deed, which will show that actually Waqf was created. You will find a number of Madar, the Kanka, the mosque, they have been constructed over public land of which they are not the owner. Even remotely they are not the owner and cannot be the owner. This happens because of section 36 and 40 of the WAQF Act. It gives power, challenge power to Waqf board to declare any property as a property. That Parliament is supposed to delete section 40 from the WAQF Act. This is one thing. The second thing is that person agrees and person interested. These two words are occurring in WAQF Act. If they say person interested, then only the persons who are connected with the WAQF, they are concerned. But if I say person agreed, this was done in 2013 by the Congress government, even to include those properties, which are not among us, then the persons who are aggrieved must come before the court within stipulated time. And I think that that word, which was amended in 2013, the person aggrieved, it should be deleted, and person interested, as was before 2013, that should be implemented. And one thing more, which is lacking still today, and under section 108, there is a provision for taking over the evacuee property. Evacuee property is not a property, even can be given to Muslims. And has been happened so far in Punjab, Haryana, a number of places, sometimes in 1961, when a number of lands were transferred by government order to Waqf board. It can't be. Though there is provision to delete section 108, but there is no constitutional provision to transfer those properties which have been illegally transferred to Waqf board. So these are the things which are required. And furthermore, why and how Waqf tribunal can function?
Yes.
The ordinary law of the land is that every suit should be decided by civil court. And civil court is the inherent power to decide the suit. Now created a Waqf tribunal. For what? Why Waqf tribunal? And there will be one person having knowledge of his study law. Perhaps that's why it will be deleted.
Yes.
But one thing remains, that why there should be Waqf tribunal. Why they cannot go before decision? In a trust case, you will find.
Yes, but coming back now to the JPC, Harishankar Jain, because the opposition members on the JPC claim that their amendments have been overturned, that they are not happy with this final report. That's why going to object to its tabling, and their opposition will continue.
They will never be happy. They will never be happy. They want entire India to be declared a Waqf property. They will never be happy. They have been given much more what is required. And this is required to amendment more exhaustively, which is not being done. If you permit me, I will tell you the history of Waqf Act itself.
Yes. Also, as far as, of course, now the bill is concerned, would you also urge fast-track passing of it in this session of Parliament itself?
I expect so. Once it is tabled, and I feel that Parliament should pass and will pass this Act because there is people demand. And public at large, they are very much perturbed and angry over these Waqf provisions. This must go immediately as soon as possible. And more amendments are required to be done in the end. And government should hear all those things and incorporate all those suggestions also in the amending act, which have not been so far taken care of by the JPC and others. That should be taken. And that point should be heard.
Okay. Okay. Also, Hari Shankar Jain, if you believe this reform is so good, and will be beneficial for the country, why didn't it happen earlier?
Kindly consider the WAQF Act, actually WAQF Act was enacted as early as 1923. There are very simple provisions that every WAQF has to be, application has to be filed before district judge. And nothing more was done. Nothing more was required. And there was no problem at that time. After independence, the Congress government enacted WAQF Act 1954.
Yes.
In a number of beneficial provisions over and above the interest of other citizens, which is against the principle of secularism. And in the name of minorities, they enacted such a law which was not required. Number two, in 2013, while Manmohan Singh government was set to go, while going so, they amended the government exhaustively and providing that there is no limitation for filing suit for the company of property. At the same time, there is provision for Hindus that they cannot claim any property, any religious property beyond 1947, 1947. So this is clearly discriminatory. That provision is now been deleted. And the Parliament should also take up this issue and also more amendments are required.
Okay.
These amendments are not sufficient. It will not give full justice to the Hindus and to the public at large. For proper justice and full justice, some more things required to be done.
Okay.
And more provisions required to be amended. And I think the Parliament must consider those aspects also.
All right. Let's leave it at that. Hari Shankar Jain, thank you very much for joining us with your perspective on this big story. Let me also quickly join now Sumit Peer, political commentator, who is joining us live. Athar Zia, Empire panelist, is also live with us. Athar Zia, let me quickly rope you in here first, because the fact, of course, is, Athar, you just heard from Hari Shankar Jain. He says that this is a reform that should be welcomed by all communities. It is not targeted with one community as a whole. He believes it should have happened much earlier. Athar, can you hear me? Okay, I think we've lost him. Sumit Peer, why don't you come in here? Sumit, the report all set to be tabled tomorrow. Do you expect uproar, or do you believe that the stage is set now for its passage in this session of Parliament itself? The bill's passage.
Thank you. Udayji, thank you very much for having me on your show. What I have to reiterate that the India is ready, Modi government is ready. I have no hesitation in saying on national TV, WAQF was the Muslim Tushtikaran Yojana launched by the Congress government, where Jain Sahab has rightly pointed out all the legal nuances of it. And before going, Dr. Manmohan Singh ji amended and gave them all sweeping powers. They gave them powers which are over and above the constitution. They gave them powers which there is no provision in Indian law. This is the biggest land scam of India. I'm quoting, this is the biggest land scam of independent India. Look, Uday, there are 2 or 3 things I want to bring to notice. I'm quoting Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji, wherein he said that संविधान में वक्फ एक्ट का कोई प्रावधान नहीं है. There is no प्रावधान, or there is no provision for वक्फ act in the constitution itself. All those people who carry constitution in their pockets and who display it at the drop of a hat, what are they going to say about it? Look, if you go by the current Waqf Act, Mukesh Ambani's Antilla is a Waqf property. Go by the current Waqf Act, Siddhi Vinayak temple is a Waqf property. Do you believe it? Siddhi Vinayak temple is a Waqf property. Now you have, 1.2 lakh crores of Waqf properties. It's big money. You have around 9 lakh Waqf properties. You have doubled. And nobody can go to any court or anything wherever. Jahan maine jhanda laga de, wo zameen meri hai. It's exactly like that. You cannot go to there. There is a temple in Tamil Nadu in a village which is 1500 years old. And according to Waqf, that is there, while the Islam itself is 1400 years old. So, I mean, this is gross atrocities. And when you put the place of worship act and stop a Hindu here, this is your limitation. And for Muslims, you can go and claim a 1500 old village in Tamil Nadu with a temple when the Islam is 1400 years old. Now, these kind of atrocities were blatant Muslim appeasement, vote bank politics, and Congress wanted to leave no stone turned to appease Muslims. And even when these opposition MPs are causing the ruckus, the reason is they have nothing to be told. I'll tell you why. Because there have been multiple meetings happened. More than 250 delegations of people have been met. There are 150 cases pending in the Delhi High Court or Supreme Court itself. There are multiple cases pending across the country. When you have met the people, when you have seen the evidence, when you have seen the things today, it was very simple, a barren piece of land or unclaimed piece of land. Okay, WAQF will say, this is mine, this becomes mine, and I cannot go and cross anywhere. So when you look at these kind of things, this is justice which has to be done. And I'm very sure now almost our geo-mapping is complete. We have done our geo-mapping. And Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji is a man who can get all the big time tickets changes done. It is not a change, it is an liberation. Hindu rights have to be liberated. Constitutional rights of Indians have to be liberated. Constitutional rights of rightful and, those law-abiding Indians have to be liberated. This policy of blatant appeasement, Muslim appeasement, has to come to an end. You cannot have this because that tramples our mine and your right. Where does mine and your right go as a Hindu or as a patriotic Indian? I cannot have somebody come and declare Siddhi Vinayak temple is his. मुझे उदय जी एक बात बताइए, how can Siddhi Vinayak temple be a WAQF property? Who says on earth Siddhi Vinayak is a WAQF property? By that logic, everybody is a WAQF property. Then let's let WAQF declare the whole India as their WAQF property. This was a scam which was going on, and I agree with Jain Saab where he says that these 44 amendments are not good enough. There's a lot of land which has to be liberated from them, and Hindu rights have to be put at par. What about the loss Hindus have taken all these? Who's going to pay for that? It's not you stop it. What about the illegal properties that are in their possession? What about those disputed properties which are there in possession? And what about those properties which they have already kind of encroached and there is nobody to claim? It was very simple. Identify a piece of land. You don't find anybody around it. It becomes WAQF automatically. मतलब वो properties का अनाथालय बन गया. Anybody where it becomes a WAQF property innately. So how are we going to get those properties back? How are we going to tell the India that the rule of law prevails equally for everybody? And I think Prime Minister Modi is the only person who is competent of delivering this. And tomorrow it's going to deliver. There's going to be a lot of ruckus.
But the opposition claims, Sumit, that their objections have been overruled. Their point of view has not been taken into consideration in this final report. And they're very likely going to oppose its tabling tomorrow and oppose it when the bill comes up for passing.
Udayji, three things. First of all, in the history of India, in 5 months or 6 months that JPC is done, it's concluded, the report is given. This is not the president's. Opposition is not happy with it. 8 meetings of the JPC committee held. More than 250 delegations were met. You met people across the length and breadth of the country. Then you propose the amendments. It is not the question, Udayji, what I like or what I not like. It's nobody's asking about their taste buds preferences. Legality is not determined by what my tastes are, what my likings are. Legality is determined by the situation wherein Indian legal system is based on natural justice. And as per that natural justice, whatever is good for the India, whatever is equal and fair for all, Hindus, Muslims and all, that has to be done. And it is not a lie. Even WAQF board has taken over some of the Muslim properties. A lot of some Muslims, they also encroached that. And you look at these WAQF boards, I think 2 accept out of 32, except 2 of them, or they're all Sunni dominated. There is no women representation. It's a Mullah Maulana brigade, which is literally controlling it. And they are trying to become an authority within the India. Where can we allow a body which doesn't have jurisdiction over a sessions court, over a district court, over a high court, and over the Honorable Supreme Court? Honorable Supreme Court had given various directions to the Congress government and they have just ignored them. Where are the provisions in the constitution for such a powerful WAQF board? Which part of the constitution determines this WAQF board can exist? There is no part. So it doesn't matter what do you like or what you don't like. Anyway, you're going to cry foul because your Muslim vote banks are going to get shaken. Anyway, nowadays in opposition, they're all fighting for the same vote bank. So tomorrow it will be a competition who can cry how much. Kitna chillaoge. That will be the competition. But, Uday, 375 gone, 35 year gone, खून की नदियां बहेंगी. Ram Mandir verdict came, खून की नदियां बहेंगी. Opposition wants to frighten this country, but I'm telling you, the normal Muslim of the country is not interested in this. They don't want this happen. They know it is a gross violation.
Right.
This is some of the powerful people
Point
in
taken.
the name of the WAQF board are minting money.
Point taken. We'll be tracking this story very, very closely, of course, as Parliament resumes tomorrow. For the time being, my thanks to you, Sumit, for joining us with your perspective on this story. Let's take a short break.